Hey everyone, it's John here from NHL Hockey to give you NHL trades that I think can go down from now until the 2020 NHL trade deadline. So if you are here and you like this kind of content, please subscribe, smash that like button, and leave your thoughts below. If you do enjoy this and you want to see a part 2, let me know, and let me know trades that you think might happen yourself. So let's start, and I think some of these examples are going to be different. Some of the players I think will be traded are not included in this video, and I think that's where a part 2 to this video comes in, or else this video would be too long. So I think that's the point here. There's going to be a few trades here we're going to look at. Some are going to be hot takes. We're going to look at a couple hot takes towards the end based on what some fans have been talking about on Twitter and just on social media, so we'll look at that as well. So hopefully you enjoy the video. So first up, if I'm looking at this trade, I'm looking at the Pittsburgh Penguins and what they're trying to acquire. You're looking at a guy like Jake Guentzel down with an injury, and they could be looking at the LA Kings. I think Tyler Toffoli is going to be targeted by a lot of teams. I think the Penguins will be one of them. It has been reported that the Penguins will be one of them. I think if you're looking at Trevor Lewis, the Stanley Cup experience, so Trevor Lewis, Tyler Toffoli, this could be a hot take in itself. I think Alex Galchenyuk could head back the other way, and I'll say this, yes, I think Galchenyuk could be traded to another contender, but I think this could be a similar situation like a guy like Anthony Duclair we saw last year. I like to use the example of Anthony Duclair because he's made a comeback in his career, and he was traded to the Ottawa Senators and a team that was nowhere near to being a contender. And I think if you're looking at Duclair, it could be a similar situation here with Galchenyuk. Yes, he's older, but Galchenyuk could find some confidence maybe with a guy like Anze Kopitar in LA. So you're throwing in a second round pick and a third round pick. Maybe that's too much from the Penguins perspective, but again, you have a guy like Guentzel down. You need someone in your top 6. That could be Tyler Toffoli. So I think Trevor Lewis, Tyler Toffoli, a second round pick, a third round pick, and Galchenyuk, I think it's very comparable to a guy like Duclair going to Ottawa. I think Galchenyuk could maybe find confidence in a lower setting in LA where it's more low-key, not as much of a bigger market. Yes, he was in Arizona, but he did find some success in Arizona. And of course, he had the one good year in Montreal. But I think if he goes to LA, maybe find some success there. A second round pick and third round pick, I think maybe including Galchenyuk, maybe allows the Penguins not to have to give up that first round pick. I don't know if that's the deal breaker here, but a second and third round pick to get Toffoli and Trevor Lewis. I don't mind this trade. You let me know what you guys think in the comment section, but I think the Penguins are getting a legit top 6 forward here. They're getting a guy in their bottom 6 as well with their injury issues. I think this could be a good trade for them. All right, so Matthew Dumba to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Could it happen? I think this could be a huge trade. I don't know if it's a trade that goes down before the trade deadline, but if you're looking at this structure of this deal here, you're getting Matt Dumba and you're getting Ryan Hartman. So I think Hartman could bring that grit into your bottom 6. Yes, the Leafs necessarily don't need another forward, but if you're losing Kasperi Kapanen, you could bring a guy back. It's also more for roster ramifications, but if you're looking at Kasperi Kapanen, legit top 6 forward, he's going to put you at 20-25 goals. Travis Dermott, okay, a lot of Leaf fans might already be reacting, why is Dermott in this trade? Okay, if you're looking at acquiring a guy like Dumba, and you're looking ahead to the Seattle expansion draft, Dumba, $6 million cap hit, you would then have a top 4 of Riley, Dumba, Muzzin, Barrie, and then again, you're probably going to lose Barrie in free agency. I think you're more likely to re-sign Jake Muzzin. And then you're looking at the defense that are coming up, whether it's Rasmus Sandin or Timothy Liljegren, and now you have Justin Holl in the fold. So I think if you're looking forward for the Leafs, I like Rasmus Sandin potentially on that left side to fill out with Riley and Muzzin. Again, Riley is injured, and if you're going to bring in a guy like Dumba, maybe get some time with Muzzin after the All-Star break. I think the point I'm trying to make here is I think Dermott is expendable to a point. I think he brings some value. I think he can get more ice time with the Minnesota Wild if Dumba was to go the other way, as well as I think you're getting that opportunity for Rasmus Sandin regardless if you feel like he needs to get sent down with Riley and Muzzin back. So I think Sandin could stay for the playoffs, and I think Dermott could be expendable in trade. And then you're including Cody Ceci in this trade, obviously for cap reasons. Kasperi Kapanen makes obviously quite a bit less than Matthew Dumba, close to half Kasperi Kapanen, a little over $3 million. Dumba is at that $6 million mark, so you got to include another cap hit going the other way for the Leafs. That would be Cody Ceci, and you're bringing back Ryan Hartman at that $1.9 million cap hit, and still getting a little more flexibility. I don't even know if the Leafs would want to bring back Hartman. I think, again, it's more of, it could be an option. When I make these trades, these mock trades, they're not exactly it. I'm not going to include draft picks all the time. There could be draft picks in here. There could be prospects. I'm kind of just including what the bulk of a trade would be. Again, Hartman might not be in here. I'm just looking at the Leafs' needs. And again, we've talked about size and grit in their bottom 6 or even in their top 6. and I think Ryan Hartman could fit that mold, but again, 1.9 million, I'm not sure if the Leafs want to do that. All right, so this one's really interesting. If I'm looking at the San Jose Sharks perspective, Aaron Dell has played okay, but he's been inconsistent. Martin Jones has really struggled, so both inconsistent goalies, and there has been rumors that the Rangers would be trading Georgiev as soon as before the trade deadline. And I think if you're the San Jose Sharks, and it has been rumored that they are one of the teams leading to get Georgiev, as well as the Leafs, I think Georgiev, Elias Anderson, who obviously most of you know the situation, I think he just needs the fresh start. I think he needs to move on. Again, San Jose actually has an underrated market, but it's a low-key situation where you can just play hockey. And Kevin Labanc, I think, could be that young forward they're looking for. I'm already seeing things on Twitter. If the Rangers weren't going to accept a trade like Kasperi Kapanen for Georgiev, I think the Rangers are kind of out to lunch, because I think if you're looking at a guy like Kapanen, he is really proving himself right now, where Georgiev has 65 games under his belt. Yes, I think he's going to be a starter in this league, but I think you take what you can get, and I think Kapanen is that. But I think Labanc could be your consolation prize, but a very good consolation prize. Yes, he's having a down year. He's averaging about 0.5 points per game, but that's on a struggling Sharks team. Kapanen is putting up those numbers with the Leafs and pretty close to the numbers that Labanc's putting up, and I think Labanc could be a legit top 6 forward. And if you're looking at Labanc, he's 24 years old, so he's still very young, and I think that's what the Rangers are looking for. So I have Labanc and Aaron Dell for Elias Anderson and Alexander Georgiev. Again, I just included Dell in here, goalie for goalie, forward for forward. So I like this deal for both sides. Maybe the Rangers need to give a little more. Again, if the Rangers are asking for like a boatload for Georgiev and then to include Anderson on top, I don't know if Anderson has that much value right now, but you're getting Kevin Labanc, so I think there is some substance there. I think the Rangers are getting what they want for Georgiev, and I think the Sharks get a goaltender for now and also into the future. So I like this for both teams. All right, so there's been some rumors that the Oilers and Leafs could be back to talking to potentially make a trade. And if I'm looking at the Leafs, and it's already been rumored that the Oilers would look at one of Kerfoot, Andreas Johnsson, or Kasperi Kapanen. I don't think the Leafs want to lose Kasperi Kapanen unless you're getting a legit top 3 or top 4 defenseman. And in this trade, Adam Larsson, yes, I think he is a top 4 defenseman, but he's more of like that 3, maybe. I think he's more of a 4 guy on your top 4. He's a right shot defenseman. Obviously, we know the horrible Taylor Hall for Adam Larsson trade. And yes, Oilers fans are going to be like, okay, we can't just give Adam Larsson for nothing, but you're not getting nothing here. I have Zach Kassian in here as well. Obviously, the suspension, he's had some issues, but he's a really good guy to have in your top 6. I think if you're looking at the perspective here, yes, you'd be losing Connor McDavid's line mate. He brings that grit. He defends your teammates. And maybe the Oilers don't want to give that up. If you're looking at both needs, you're getting Kerfoot, who can play both wing and center. He could be your third-line centerman, and that's exactly what the Oilers need. And you're getting Andreas Johnsson, who can be in the top 6 or be in the top 9. If you're looking at the Leafs perspective, injuries on defense, they can always use another right shot defenseman. That would be Adam Larsson, and you're getting that protection, you're getting that grit from Zach Kassian. I'm going to say it one more time. I don't think the Oilers want to give up Kassian, but I'm making the point of if the Leafs were looking at a player up front that could fit what they're looking for, a cheaper cap hit, and that grit and that size and that physical ability, that would be Zach Kassian. So I don't know if that would work. Maybe it's a 1-for-1 of like, I don't know if the Leafs would want to give up Kerfoot, but Kerfoot for Larsson. I don't know if that works out for the Leafs, or maybe Andreas Johnsson for Larsson. Maybe that's not enough for the Oilers. But I'm making the point that I think the Leafs and Oilers could be trade partners, and I think these players here could be involved. All right, so I really like this trade for the Boston Bruins. If the San Jose Sharks see something in Anders Bjork, I would make this trade in the Bruins' perspective. I think you're getting an upgrade in Labanc. Bjork, a year younger, but you're getting Labanc, who has put up, I think, over 10 more points. Labanc, who can step in on that top 6, whether it's on a line with Krejci and DeBrusk, or you shuffle that top line a bit. But that's why you're giving up the 3rd-round pick. I think this deal is more specific. Again, the other deals are a little loose in who's involved, and if there's draft picks, and if there's prospects. I like this deal as it is. Kevin Labanc for Bjork and a 3rd-round pick. I think this is fair for both teams. Maybe the Sharks, again, want more for Labanc, but you're getting Anders Bjork, who still has very good potential to be a top 9, maybe even top 6. Maybe that's a stretch. And then you're getting a 3rd-round pick on top of it. So if you just wanted a high draft pick, if you were to trade Labanc, then you can go elsewhere for that. But I think this could be fair for the Bruins. and York right now is taking that spot in the top 9. If the Sharks are rebuilding and the Bruins are in a playoff spot like we expect them to be, I like this trade for both teams. All right, so now we're on to the hot takes. You know I like to throw in hot takes, so don't be too harsh here because I don't believe these would happen. When I talk about hot takes, they're bold takes. They're takes that, yes, maybe the value isn't too far off, but it would be crazy to happen. We've seen crazy, and especially considering PK Subban has been involved in crazy before, I wouldn't be surprised if he was involved in another crazy deal. So I'm looking at the perspective here. PK Subban, $9 million cap hit. He struggled a lot this season. You're looking at the other side, Colin Miller. It's a situation where a very good cap hit, under $4 million. He can play in a top 4 role. There's been rumors that the Devils have inquired about Colin Miller from the Sabres. You're throwing in Jimmy Vesey, who still has potential to be a very good top 9 forward. He has struggled in Buffalo. He struggled with the Rangers as well. And then Zach Bogosian, it's pending UFA, but he asked for a trade. This would be you giving him that trade. Blake Coleman brings some interesting value here. 2 years left at a $1.9 million cap hit. I think this is where the Sabres get that top 9 forward. They have some injuries, and I really like Blake Coleman. So I think maybe if you take all the complicated things out of this trade, maybe Blake Coleman for Colin Miller could make sense for both sides. So take out all the nonsense of this. Blake Coleman, Colin Miller, that could work. But I wanted to get a little fancy here and throw in PK Subban because maybe he just needs that different scenario with the Buffalo Sabres. Get on that power play with Jack Eichel. And then Jimmy Vesey, new start. Zach Bogosian, maybe new start. And then Colin Miller. Again, I think the Devils are losing some players coming up on that back end with some pending UFAs, including a guy like Sami Vatanen. And I think they could use a guy like Colin Miller, who has a very good cap hit. And the Buffalo Sabres are very crowded on the back end, so they could lose a couple defensemen. And while maybe bringing back a guy like PK Subban. But again, Colin Miller for Blake Coleman. Maybe that is fair, and maybe that does go down. All right, so the hot take of the video. This one is insane. This one won't happen. Marc Bergevin made it clear they're not trading Shea Weber. They're not trading Carey Price. At least before the trade deadline, they would hang up. But Marc Bergevin also said he wasn't trading PK Subban, and then what happened? So I'm looking at this as absolutely insane. I don't think it would happen. I think it's pretty funny, and I mean, obviously we know with what happened with Patrick Roy, the Avalanche and Canadian, another blockbuster deal maybe. So Jeff Petrie to Colorado. I think individually Jeff Petrie could be a target for the Colorado Avalanche, so I want to make that clear. Carey Price would maybe be a target, but the cap hit's a question. I think Marc Bergevin wants to keep that leadership in Weber and Price, but you've got to consider the future. You've got to consider what those contracts will look when these guys cannot play at the level they're playing at right now. And then Nate Thompson, Nick Cousins, that's more of just roster complications. Shane Bowers, very good prospect. Tyson Jost, I think he can still be a top 9 forward for a playoff team, for a good team. Ian Cole, I think he's a $4.5 million cap hit. A couple years left on that contract. And then Philip Grubauer, over $3 million. And he can be maybe a mediocre fringe starter, but you'd be getting Carey Price from the Avalanche perspective. And then a first and second round pick. That's, I think, for the Montreal Canadiens to get it done, to convince Marc Bergevin to make this kind of deal. Again, if you're kind of like the Buffalo Sabres, Devils, if you're taking the complicated out of this deal, maybe you slide out Carey Price, take out Tyson Jost, Ian Cole, Grubauer, or take out Ian Cole, Philip Grubauer in the second round pick, Shane Bowers, Tyson Jost, and a first round pick or a second round pick for Jeff Petrie. Maybe that's too much, and maybe the Colorado Avalanche don't even need another defenseman. I don't even think they do. Maybe they want to trade away Ian Cole and get more of a guy that can play crazy on both sides of the ice than Jeff Petrie. I don't really know. I guess if I'm looking at Jeff Petrie and for any team and what someone can target, I'm looking at a comparable in Jake Muzzin, a first round pick and 2 prospects. That could be what the Montreal Canadiens are looking for in Jeff Petrie, at least a first round pick and a prospect. So I think if I'm taking out the complicated in here, maybe a first round pick and Shane Bowers for Jeff Petrie. Again, do the Avalanche really need a defenseman? No, but Jeff Petrie would be a very good player to add for that playoff run. So they have the cap flexibility. Maybe it happens. I don't see Carey Price being traded, and how it went down and saying he wasn't going to trade PK Subban and ended up trading him. I can't see him doing that to his franchise goalie in Carey Price. So if the Avalanche were to get Carey Price, you're getting a top 10 goalie in the league. You're getting a goalie that can play very well in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. That was the hot take of the video. So thank you for watching. Again, The 2 hot takes at the end. I think in comparison, there is some targets in there that those teams could be looking at. And then the earlier trades I talked about. If you guys want a part 2, let me know. Drop a like. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Of course, please subscribe if you are new to the channel. Lots of hockey content, live streams, all of that coming on the channel. So thank you for the support. Hope to see you on the next video. This was John from NHL Hockey. Have a good one. Peace out.